Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel, please check out the link above to my Patreon page. I'll also put the link down below in the description. I'm back with a replay of round 4 of a Modern League, currently sitting at 3-0. This is a really nice opening hand. This is one of those opening hands where if somebody asked me, what would your perfect opening Merfolk hand look like? This is pretty close to it. Only thing that's wrong here is that we're on the draw instead of being on the play. Steam Vents makes these Spreading Seas less useful. Gonna go Island AEther Vial and see what the opponent is doing. Misty Rainforest is an interesting one. Now, that could still be like Blue-Red Phoenix, and this is just their chosen blue fetch. But if they're on some kind of green mana, it's not going to be a conventional deck. Another C. So let's see what the opponent's doing, I guess. Since I have AEther Vial up here and I have no idea what they're playing, I chose to go with Spreading Seas if something's going to get countered. So it was a snow-covered forest that they got, so some kind of Teamer snow build, and they cast Ice Fang Coatl. Or Codal. I gotta say Codal. I'm gonna get to draw a card off the Spreading Seas. This could potentially be like a 5-color Bring to Light deck. It could also I've played against like grindy Teamer control builds with some of these new cards. Island is not bad. Okay, so it's definitely some kind of Scapeshift deck because they just suspended a Search for Tomorrow. Gonna take AEther Vial up. Gonna play Merrow Reejerey. Opponent's gonna flash in another Codal. It's gonna draw a card. These guys currently don't have Death Touch because they don't have 3 other snow permanents. But they suspend another Search for Tomorrow, play to tap Steam Vents. So this is very much looking like a 4-color Bring to Light Scapeshift deck. They tend to run like a couple of Remands, a couple of Cryptic Commands. Okay, they're going to path my Reejerey in response to Vial. That's fine. We're going to play Silvergill through Vial, draw another Lord. That's pretty great. Leave Vial on 2, and Mutavault is nice as a body. It dodges any kind of Wraths. So I could have Vialed in a Lord there, but I'm going to have lethal next turn if I Vial in a Lord on their end step and activate these guys and then Vial in another Lord. There's also no huge rush here, I don't think. So I'll just take them off that Temple Garden mana, drew into a Force of Negation, which is probably the best card in this matchup. Okay, one of these searches is going to get cast. I'm definitely not wasting a Force of Negation on a Search for Tomorrow. Opponent leaving back their blockers this time means they've probably got some kind of interaction. Okay, play that Lord through the Vial, leave it on 2, draw another Lord. This is all going very nicely here. So I can activate these guys. Now, I could have cast a Lord and then Vialed in another Lord. Might have been a little bit more prudent, like safer if they had Path for 1, and then I don't know, they probably don't play Bolt, but if they had removal for the one that I Vial in, then these Death Touchers can kind of blow out my attackers. Alright, so here's a Snapcaster. Gonna get that Path. Sort of fine. I expected some kind of interaction. We'll get a land, and in response to all that, we can bring in a Lord. Okay, so they had nothing for the second Lord. They take 9, go down to 3. If we had had that second Lord on the table, game probably would have been over. But we do have the Force in hand. This Search for Tomorrow, coming off Suspend. Again, we're not going to counter this. Opponent leaving up all the blockers again. And again, we're not too scared of it, because now with them at 3, if they've got like a Cryptic Command in hand, I thought about activating a Mutavault. But, for example, let's say that they just try to path the Lord. I can Vial in another Lord, still have lethal with the Silvergill Adept. If they try to If they try to path the Silvergill Adept, I can just counter it, but better is probably just to get in with both creatures and vial in the next Lord. So they're going to go for path in response to this, and just countering their interaction in this kind of an attack is going to be the best approach. Just kind of overload whatever they've got. And the only response they have to Force of Negation is Ojutai's command. So they're going to gain 4 life and draw a card. Potentially they could draw, I guess, like a lightning bolt or maybe even a vapor snag or something to let them deal with my attack here, because gaining 4 life is not going to be enough. All right, so Force is going to resolve, negating the Pact. And then Aether Vial is going to resolve. I'm going to bring in the Lord. And it's going to be 7, unblockable. So the opponent scooped in that position. They actually thought about it for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, but let's say 30 seconds, seeing that I was attacking for Xaxes. I checked these 4-color lists online afterwards, and I saw one that had this singleton Ojutai's command. And it's a pretty neat card. And, you know, I can't blame anybody for running it. Countering a creature spell is pretty awesome. Drawing a card is pretty awesome. Returning a Snapcaster is pretty great value. But as you can see, the life gain is just kind of cute. Didn't really get them where they wanted to go. So it took game 1 off 4-color Bring to Light Snow Shift, I guess. Let's go to game 2 and see how that one went. Okay, back for game 2 against the 4-color Scapeshift deck. So here, let's see. It looks like I just cut 4 Cs, brought in 2 Deprives and 2 Kiras. After looking at the lists, I'm not really sure if Kira is super necessary. They run, like, I think they only run like 2 Path to Exiles. They do have the Snapcasters to recur them, though. I'm still not sure about the C's claims. I took out 4 of my C's, left 3 of them in. The thing is, when they want to cast Bring to Light, all they need is 1 white, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 red. Now they're like a core blue-red deck that's ramping constantly and fixing their mono with stuff like Fetch Lands and Search for Tomorrow. So if I keep playing C's, first of all, they can use the blue mana. Second of all, every single turn they have more cards that can just refix their mana. So I think particularly the C's claims are poor because they're not drawing me into more cards. The Spreading Seas, you know, are at least redraws, and then the rest of the cards in the sideboard don't really do very much. So leaving in some number of Spreading Seas seems reasonable. But for this particular game, I brought in 2 Kiras and 2 Deprives. This is a lovely hand. Got a counter spell, got an Aether Vial. Opponent opens up with the tap Stomping Grounds. I draw into another Lord. We do want to hit lands. If the opponent tried to destroy the Aether Vial here, I was absolutely going to force it. But they just have a Sakura Tribuilder. Totally fine. That's another way that they can fix their mana. Again, sort of showing how difficult it can be to effectively shut them off colors with Spreading Seas. So, for example, if I had a Spreading Seas here, it might seem very nice to hit their Stomping Grounds, but then they sack Sakura Tribuilder, get a Forest, and they still have 3 of their colors. Remember, blue is one of their 4 colors. So hitting with Spreading Seas, they can untap, have blue, white, green, and then just go get a Steam Vents, and then they've got red. So I'm just going to play a Lord here. We've got Ben through Aether Vial. Opponent's got access to all their colors already. And yeah, so the plan here is apply pressure, hold up counter spells, and see if it gets there. Upkeep, pathing the Lord. Classic. I get a tapped island, take Aether Vial up. Mutavault is pretty sweet. Going to attack with Ben. We can just leave up Force here, but it seems like a better play since we're kind of planning on holding up Force for like a Bring to Light later in the game or a Scapeshift later in the game. Opponent cracks a land, it's tapped, so I dodge the counter spell, which is pretty awesome. I wanted to get Thassa down as soon as possible because her scrying every turn is pretty insane. It also takes off ambush blocks from Snapcaster Mage. Okay, hard cast Search for Tomorrow. That's going to resolve. We can tick AEther Vial up. We're going to scry first, though. Deprive is beautiful. You can see Thassa helping us balance our hand as the game moves forward. We've got the creatures. We really just want the interaction to prevent the opponent from sort of one card comboing us. So we get Mutavault revved up. Gonna swing in, and now on their turn I've got 2 counter spells up. I can cast Deprive with mana, and then free cast Force by pitching one of these Reejereys if necessary. So we're exactly where we want to be. This land situation should make it really clear how difficult it can be to get value out of the seas. I mean, what lands would I hit? I guess this one, and this one. It would take them off of double white. I don't know. Just hitting both white might be reasonable. So they're just passing here, so we'll definitely bring in one of these Reejereys. Important to note, it does not wake up Thassa. We do want to avoid doing that. Waterlogged Grove is going to the bottom. Island, we'll play that because we want to be able to cast our counter spells. And now we've got 5 land. We can just hard cast both of them. Attacking with both creatures, if the opponent flashes in a Snapcaster, we can just make one of the creatures unblockable. But they don't have the snap. They play another land. Okay, so Bring to Light with 4 colors. You can see they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands, which is enough to get 2 Valakut and 6 Mountains for 36 damage. So Bring to Light, we're going to go with the Force of Negation, since it's a non-creature spell. And it resolved. They didn't have like the Remand or anything like that, so they're going to follow up with Search for Tomorrow. So I double-checked when they played this in the game log to see if they already played a land, and they played one of these snow-covered plains. So if I counter this, it's the end of the opponent's turn, no more lands. I can Vial in Reejerey and have 9 with Merfolk, and then another 4 with Mutavault, so that's 13, definitely enough to win the game. So I went ahead and countered this with Deprive. If I didn't counter it, they could potentially play a white source. If well, let's see. They only have 1 card in hand here, so if it was a land and they played it, then they'd be empty-handed. So nothing really to worry about here. I guess it's just about sending a message with Deprive. But that was my thought process during the game. If they had more cards in hand, that would have been relevant, trying to play around an untapped white source into path. But yeah, that was kind of an impossible line. So we're going to opponent hasn't scooped yet, but they scooped during Thassa's scry. And I should have drawn more cards at the end to see if, fortunately it doesn't let you do it during the replay, to see if I could have hit like a Lord, in which case I could have woken Thassa up, just for extra super overkill. But this is how this matchup should go. We have creatures and counter spells, and it doesn't matter if it takes 4 turns or 8 turns or 12 turns. Particularly with Thassa on board, we're going to get to scry into gas. We're going to get to attack unblockable. Yeah. So, as I said, this match went pretty much according to plan against this deck. The last time I uploaded a video playing against this 4-color Scapeshift deck, we lost, I think, in 3 games, and I think we just had to draw a little bit poorly. I made a bad decision by wasting a Deprive on an Obstinate Baloth, when really we do want to save our counter spells for like Bring to Light and Scapeshift. So that's it. Currently 4-0 in this league. I believe it's been Eldrazi-tron, blue-white control, this 4-color Scapeshift deck here, and just before this was one of the new Hogak decks. So the 7 Seas build feeling really strong in this league so far. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and please check out my Patreon page if you'd like to support the channel. And definitely tune in for the next round, where I'll be back for a chance to go 5-0 in this league. I'll see you guys there. Bye.